All right, guys, this is functions this week. So, functions workouts, we're going to start off with for week 3. We're going to start our Monday off with our regular work for the skill and activation piece. So, just like last week, cluneal nerve tensioning and then some glute med activation. So, basically, around the hips, glutes, we're trying to wake up the nerves that are responsible for firing those muscles, and then we're going to actually activate those muscles and take them to their full range of motion so that we can feel the actual contraction of the muscles and the actual like nerve endings, feel those kinds of the stretches around that area so that we can get those areas fired up and primed up. We're going to do one side at a time. So we're doing 2 to 3 sets, 3 on one side, and then we're going to do a 10 to 20-second hold on each side. So go through a couple sets using this as a warm up. So it's going to be a part of your warm up to go into deadlifts. We got every 3 minutes for 5 rounds. We're going to do 5 deadlifts. Goal is to build strength. We're going to build core strength, legs, posterior chain is going to get fired up. And this is going to help us with even our bone density as well. Once we start loading and working on strength, our bone increases, or our bone density improves as we implement more strength training. So this is super important to be focusing on today. However, doesn't mean we're going to go crazy with the weights. What I would say, it's like, let's get the movement patterns down first. So get comfortable with it. If you are comfortable with deadlifts, use a bar. If you are still new to it, maybe a kettlebell or dumbbell might be more appropriate for you. But the idea is we're learning how to hinge through our hips and load the backside of our body, or the like the posterior chain, to really take the loading of this movement. And with these 5 deadlifts, if it feels good and you guys are familiar with the motions, we can definitely go up to a 7 or 8 RPE. So that means make it challenging for yourself for those 5, but as long as we have control. When we're done that workout, it's going to take us into our workout from the strength. 10 minutes, 6 dual kettlebell deadlifts. So we have 2 kettlebells, and I want you guys to challenge yourself with this. So something a little heavy. Think of like the groceries when you pick them up and you lift them. I want it to be kind of like around that weight, or even more challenging. Or you can think of this as going to make it easier to pick up those groceries. But make these tough as long as your technique is there. And then we're going to go into 3 inchworms with a push up at the bottom. So this is meant to be a strength endurance workout. I'm not looking for you to do 50 rounds or 20 rounds in these 10 minutes. It's going to look like maybe 4 to 6 rounds in these 10 minutes because it's going to be tough. That's what we're trying to get after in this one. However, we're not doing a 1 rep max for any of these. So make sure you're in that sweet spot. Again, like 4 to 6 rounds in these 10 minutes would be really good. Then we're working more on the strength endurance than we are on endurance itself. Going into Wednesday, very similar structure. Skill and activation for upper body. So we're going to do radial nerve work, which is going to activate a lot of the hand motions, but also a lot of triceps and forearm as well. So we want to fire up the nerves, or actually like create some awareness around them, and then we're going to activate triceps. And when we activate triceps, the goal is to feel the tension in the muscle. Can we go from a relaxed state to a full tension state? Goal, again, like as mentioned, is sensory awareness and the muscle activation. That's what we're going to do as the warm-up piece, which is going to take us into our bench press, 5 sets of 5 reps, controlled descents. And we want to either use this time to get familiar with the movement patterns, or start to challenge ourselves and look back at last week and bump up the weights a little bit. When we're done our workout, nice straightforward workout, or when we're done our strength, I keep saying that, going into the workout, we got a nice straightforward workout here. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 10-minute time cap, Russian twist, either just with the hands, so no, just body weight, or with a med ball. Seconds held at the top of a dip or push-up position, and then skips or tap jumps. So this one's going to be a familiar workout. If you guys remember doing the workout Annie, a little bit of inspiration from that. This is going to be focused more on the core in today's workout. So expect to kind of feel this in the next couple of days a little bit. But the idea is like, let's move well and let's focus on the core positioning. We're going to be rotating. We're going to be holding the top of the dip or the push-up. And then we got some cardio involved and some skill with the tap jumps. So that will be Wednesday's workout. Then we're going to go into Thursday. This is where we're going to work on our proprioception or vestibular, so our inner ear, where our balance comes from, and then our vision as well. We're going to focus this week on pelvic tilts, so the pelvis and how to move that. We're going to work on our balance with head nods in a single leg stance, and then eye switches, a new visual skill that we'll practice a little bit more, where eyes jump from one target to another. And this is going to all help you become better movers, because we use these systems every time we interact with our environment. Anytime we go to do a movement, our brain looks at how much information are we getting from vision, how much information are we getting from the vestibular system, how much are we getting from the proprioceptive system, and based on all of that, then we can make our movement happen. If there's any deficits in these areas, we start to see compensations happen. Tighter areas, less mobile, maybe pain. So these are the three primary systems that we use to interact in space. So that's why we're training them. We want to become better movers and better awareness of our surroundings when we're moving. So body awareness is going to be key in this one. And then our workout, we're going to get primed up for that using that stuff. It's going to be every 2 minutes for 5 rounds. So it's interval style. 10 dual dumbbell cleans to overhead, and the remaining time is calories on the bike. Once the 2 minutes is expired, you're going to rest for 1 minute. So once the clock starts, basically you're going to do your 10 dual dumbbell clean to overhead, and it's kind of like you're buy-in. You're trying to get those 10 done. Then whatever's remaining in the 2 minutes, you're hopping on the bike and getting as many calories done. 2 minutes is going to expire, and then you get a 1 minute rest. So really good workout today. We got a lot more cardio in this one. And working on some skill as well with that dual dumbbell clean to overhead. A little bit of coordination involved doing that, but a good one for that Thursday workout. And then finally, our Saturday to finish off the week, skill and activation, 10 to 15 diaphragm stretches, version 2 or 1, depending on kind of where you're at with it. Make sure you're taking a step or a rest in between each rep so that you're getting the most out of it. These are not meant to be done unbroken. So take your time doing this. And then our workout, we got an EMOM 30 for consistency. I want you guys to keep track of your reps in this one. The idea is to keep the same number of reps per round across the 5 rounds. So we got 1 minute dedicated to ski calories, 1 minute no push-up burpees, 1 minute bike erg or assault bike calories, 1 minute air squats, 1 minute row calories, and then 1 minute rest. So pacing and endurance is going to be the key focus in this workout. If we can get the same number of reps and try to manage the pacing, we're going to become better at our endurance, because we're learning how to pace in the first place. If you go into this trying to with no plan, you're going to start to taper off, and that's ideally what we don't want to happen, because if we teach ourselves to go fast in the beginning and drop off at the end, we're not really learning the skill of endurance. Endurance doesn't just come just by going hard all the time. It comes by the skill of actually pacing too as well. So hopefully you guys have fun with this one. A good one. This is longer, so it's a little bit more sweaty. And then we'll see you guys next week for the next set of workouts. Enjoy, guys.